Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors in Winston-Chester. I'm glad you're here this morning. Got a big show lined up and a good show lined up. First, our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center, corner of Baldwin and Highway 77. High today, 86. Low 65. All right, now I'm going to double check this, but we have written down here on the water temperature is 81.5. Now, if that's true, and I have no reason to believe it's not, that's the first time it's hit 80. I mean, we've had, like 70, 77, 70, but it's 81. So I'm going to double check it for tomorrow and let you know for sure. Our river reading brought to us by Mountain Dew. Take it outside, Mountain Dew. And it's very refreshing this time of the year to have a good drink when you're out there when it gets really hot. I mean, I love water all the time. I drink water 90-something% of the time, the other 10%, I want me a good soda. And we're talking about on our river readings, Bill was here last week, we talked about the big river and the Apalachicola is called the Big River. On the west side, the other river was, like you said, Chipola. So when people say you're going to the river, I say, I'm going to Big River. So, but on the east side, over in Bristol and the Hosford side, the other river was Ocklawahnee. So you ask which river you're going to, and I'm talking about back in my dad's younger days and all. And we're going over the Big River Saturday, and we knew they were going to the Apalachicola River. So that's why we called it a Big River instead of the Ocklawahnee on one side or the Chipola on the other side. That's the roots of that, where it came from. Anyway, the Apalachicola today is at 9.1 and falling out a little bit. Not bad now. Maybe looking really good for the weekend. A little early to tell, but right now it's not bad. Choctahatchee at Caryville right at 5.9, bouncing up a little bit today, but then dropping out pretty quick. And I've seen some great pictures over this past weekend of some good catches. Tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. Today is May the 7th, and we're looking at on May 7th. We're looking at some really good tides all week long. I mean, really strong tides all week. And next week some neat tides, but take advantage of it if you can. High tide will be at 10:46 this morning, and then another tide at 12:46 tonight, and then 9:45 and 11:45. Actually, we've got double tides today, strong tides. Marine forecast east at about 8, and then swinging to southwest at about 5. Not a bad day at all. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and I'm going to talk a minute or so about this situation here. When you get, I was telling Jeff on our Facebook, you get these memories of 1 year ago, 5 years ago, whatever. And I know people have pros and cons on doing that kind of social media. I like it because I stay in touch with a lot of different people I don't ever see in person. So I do enjoy it. And also, on the other hand, it keeps me informed about what I was doing 5 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever. And we're talking about a Pompano run coming in late April and early May, and what's been popping up. I'm just going to show you real quick. 1 year ago, this is my youngest granddaughter, Mackenzie. 1 year ago on the Cape, okay. This was 5 years ago. That's this weekend 5 years ago. Okay, and I limited out that day. So anyway, it sort of tells you that run is pretty strong. And I keep telling you all about the spring run, and it's been pretty strong. All right, let's move on. Next picture's fishing under the bridge. This is Devin Bragg with the two twins. That's T-E-W. I always call them T-W-O, but that's Haley and Hannah too, and Devin Bragg. And you can see, I pulled out the individual pictures. This is right here. This is bay fishing this past couple of days ago. Hannah right there, and look at this nice redfish, and it's pretty obvious where he's at. A lot of people like looking in the background. Now, where's he catch that fish? Well, you can see where Devin caught that one. Devin's a good fisherman. And there's Hannah there, Haley there. And on the sheepheads, you can see what they call it. 3 different species up under the bridge, and those girls can fish. Good girls, too. Daniel Cole, our very own Daniel Cole. Not a bad night, Daniel. Catching up on those Spanish. Is that about got his limit right there? I know he has some good fish tacos. Check this out. This is Walter Helmuth, a good day fishing. I tell you all about fishing off the East Point Bridge when I do that Friday fishing report. Well, this is Walter sent this in. He caught a 26-inch Spanish mackerel and a 38-inch bull red. And that's that bridge I talk about, okay? Right there coming out of East Point. And there's a close-up shot. Good shot, Walter. The bridge behind them is the bridge that goes to St. George Island. And we've got a photo bomb by the bird over on the right-hand side. But I'm telling y'all, that is an excellent place to go fishing. Look at that big old redfish right there. All right, good job, Walter. All right, how about some freshwater fish coming out of Howard's Creek? We've been telling you they're just starting to bite down to Howard's Creek, and this is some fine fishing here. And one of the things about it, let's see, I was going to tell you about the freshwater fishing real quick. I got word from somebody that just about needed a sheriff's deputy at all these boat ramps, these freshwater boat ramps over this past weekend, just directing traffic. Everybody's not good and all, but somebody had to direct traffic. There were so many people went freshwater fishing this past weekend, okay? And, okay, we'll talk about triple tail later, so that takes in. One thing, too, look, I go out of town for 3 or 4 days, and I come back, and what have y'all done? Y'all let the yellow flies come in. we got back home, and I wasn't home long, and here, all of a sudden, here comes the yellow fly. I just want to go ahead and let y'all know the yellow flies are here, in case you haven't been out in the woods, especially up in these creeks and all. The yellow flies are here. They come in this time of year. They're aggravating as they be. They have the meanest bite of any of the insects we have over. Of course, the sand gnats are pretty close to them also. But yellow flies are a lot more discernible as far as you can sort of see them flying around and feel them. You can feel them bite real quick and usually dispense of them pretty quick. But I just want to let you know, again, I'll talk about it all the time, the best way, and the old timers did it all the time, wear long sleeves, wear long pants, and like me, I always wear shorts and t-shirts and all that, and I know better, but most of the time nowadays, I finally learned at my age to just wear long sleeves and some long pants, especially if you're going up on these creeks. Now, they'll take you away on a creek. They're bad in your backyard all along throughout the coastline and all the way up there around the rivers and all, but you get up in these creeks, Saul's Creek or Depot Creek or something this time of year, and those yellow flies will eat you alive. So you make sure you take care of that. Also, you can put some insect repellent on, but just make sure, I don't know how to spray it on bare skin. I've done any research on it, but if you've got a cut or something, I just, for some reason, I just don't believe in spraying any kind of insect repellent on that because of the chemicals. That's just, I don't know, I just don't think that's good for you. So I'm real leery of using too much insect repellent. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. All the things we observe and all has always been, we learn by observing, and I saw something the other day, I've talked about it before too. Coming down 231 was a guy towing a boat, and it was a nice boat, it was about a 23-footer, and he had his canopy up, and he was just going back and forth like that. Folks, we don't tow boats with the canopy up. Now, if you're just going around the block, it's good, but if you're going on Highway 231 or 77 or on Highway 90, do not tow your boat with the canopy up. It's not good for it because it'll break off pretty soon. All right, so be aware of that. I didn't think people do that much anymore. We still see it pretty regular in the summertime. Okay, now let's talk a second about triple tail. We talked about the triple tail fish is a very excellent table fare, and it wasn't very popular for a long time. Some people call it a blackfish and all, but the triple tail, I know you don't remember Captain Blair Morgan, my late good friend Blair. We would go triple tail fishing some over there behind St. Vincent Island, and it was so much fun, and it's a good eating fish. But I got a buddy now that's really into it big time. But here's a triple tail. Here's a little poster here I pulled up just sort of show you, because this speaks volumes of what a triple tail does. The triple tail likes to hang around channels and also around these poles and around something that they can ambush their prey. And this is a picture of it right here. It's really a very interesting fish, and it's becoming very popular now. But let me read this to you. Let me show you this picture. I'm going to show this picture here too. This is Captain Chris Gurris showing his buddy. I forget his buddy's name, but they had planned. Captain Chris Gurris is the guy I want to talk about. He's from here originally, the Gurris family. They were good friends with Petronas family, and they were here. They had 4 kids, and some of them, they were around my kids' age. So I've known Chris a very long time. And at one time he was in the business of buying kitchen stuff and selling restaurants, but he always fished his whole life and became a captain a good while back when he retired. He specializes now on triple tail and redfish and all over in Ocklackney Bay. It's on the far eastern end of our viewing area on the other side of East Point. And that area, even when our kids were young, they were catching triple tail over there. They had a family restaurant over there. So anyway, we were able to always keep in touch with him. But now he lives over there, and he's a guide. And I'm going to give you his phone number later if you want to go with him. He's excellent. He's talking about a beautiful place to fish. That's it. But here's a guy, this past weekend, last Saturday, the guy's fishing. He gets a lot of repeat business. I mean, a lot of good fishermen come in and fish with him because they know what kind of captain he is. But anyway, let me move on with the story. This guy here, they were going red fishing, but the weather messed them up. So what they decided to do, because this guy's a good fisherman too, Chris said, let's just go, if you want to, go catch some triple tail and tag them. Because this guy, he said, I'd love to do that. So you can see what they did. They went out and they caught a bunch of triple tail, and they were small. So I just want to read you his report on what he did. Okay, let me get it right here. Okay, here's what Chris said. We tagged and released 30 triple tail by noon. Okay, he said, although they were small in size, 11 inches to 16 inches, the quantity beat my record high of 28 fish in a day. So that tells you the amount of triple tail there. And they would like to encourage anyone who fishes for triple tail to consider tagging and releasing. And it goes on to talk about the program, and we've talked about it here at the University of Southern Mississippi over in Hattiesburg. Their program over there, how we talked about how they'll get it tagged with cobia and triple tail and all, and he sends them all it's in the laboratories in Ocean Springs. But anyway, he went on and showed that picture there. Here's another picture here of some triple tail called a fly rod, because they're so easy to catch. And what they'll do, I'm gonna zoom this in. Y'all see this floating right here, and right to the left of that float is that triple tail. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it on air there, but basically it was sight fishing before sight fishing became popular. And what they'll do, they will actually ambush the bait. So what we would do over there behind St. Vincent, we would cast a shrimp north of where, in other words, catch a flow and let that shrimp just float right by, and he would ambush them. And it was just, you could see it happening. It was just fascinating. And we really were into it for a while. We just got busy doing other things, but the big thing about the redfish, the triple tail, you can redfish a while off the oyster bars and turn right around at the buoy markers from the same spot and catch a triple tail, and we're able to do that. They'll live. They say they'll live now for 8 to 10 years. What the latest research talks about triple tail. They'll grow up to 40 pounds, but most of them are between 2 pounds and 15 pounds. And the biggest one we saw. Jerry Sabo from down the Indian Pass. I don't know if Jerry's still around or not, but he specialized in triple tail fishing, doing the same thing. He would tag them, and we saw him. He and his wife were out, and Blair and I pulled upside the boat. You may remember the video a good while back. I'll see if I can't pull it out and show it again. He had a 25-pound triple tail that he had caught, and he was tagging them and sending information back. Most of them, I've tried to look up the information on. I've always said, since I've been doing the show, I want to go over there to the University of Southern Mississippi and go in their labs and talk to those guys like I did with the down here on the scallop situation, and get talk to them and see what they're saying about, and see their facilities and all. And I plan on doing that one day. So anyway, let me see what else I'll write down about them. Excellent table fare, wrote that down. And they look like a lazy fish because they're floating around, but they're not lazy because they'll attack it. And also, they're very aggressive. I know you can put them in your live well and all. If you reach in there, they're going to bite the stew out of you. So be careful hanging around them and all, because, like I say, they've tagged over 3,000, and they've also they've had about 370 sent back in. So that's about a 10% ratio as far as the tags being returned. And that's a very high ratio of tagged fish. Usually it's in single digits. And this triple tail research has been in triple digits. They found that most of them will stay in the same area within 100 miles. Some go out 200 or 300 miles, but they're not like cobia. They don't get way off and go all over the place. So the triple tail fishing is excellent. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and take our break, and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Our fishing game time today brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers in Port St. Joe. 2:42 to 4:42 this morning. We just passed it, but how about this afternoon? 3:10 to 5:10. Okay, so keep that in mind. I want to show you. We talk a lot with it being pompano season. We talk a lot about the pompano and different ways to catch them and how you can do it. What I wanted to do, I'm going to talk about fish bites again, of course. But let me say this: one of the reasons I went to fish bites instead of sand fleas, of course, the fish bites were catching more than sand fleas, but don't let me discourage you from using sand fleas, okay? Sand fleas is an excellent natural bait. I'm going to go on record of saying that. Excellent natural bait for pompano, and a lot of people don't use it much anymore, sort of like me. And one of the big reasons, though, when I put on a sand flea, about that size, a lot of times, and I was giving a lot of torque when I cast it, because I cast some way out, and I was losing about every third sand flea I would lose them. No matter how well I'd hook them from the back and side and everything, I just got to where it was aggravating losing them. So that's one of the reasons that I went to fish bites, and of course, big reason fish bites were catching more. So keep that in mind too. Do not be discouraged on using a sand flea, and they make a lot of sand flea baits and all. In fact, this little bait here. Let me go and show you what I'm talking about. That little bait right there looks just like a little sand flea, doesn't it? And that color, the pink head and all. So keep that in mind. There are several sand flea baits out there. So anyway, but before I want to get into the fish bites and what I want to show you before they're solid. And I talk about the green color and all. I like that green color, but you can buy some of them already chopped up in a little piece like that. Okay, most of them come in a strip like that, but you can get them. Okay, to me it looks like those little bubble gum strips you'd buy at a store, and but you don't want to chew on these. But anyway, that's what they look like, and like I say, they'll pre-cut them. The pre-cut ones cost a little bit more, and I like to buy the whole ones like this because I just like to cut them up myself, give me something to do, and sometimes I put a different size on them. But the pre-cut ones work really good. But what I want to show you, the next step I want to show you, once you have the fish bites on, this is what it's going to look like on the hook, okay? And this is a 3-hook rig, which I very seldom use a 3-hook rig anymore. But when I do, a lot of times the reason people don't use them, but now if you're a commercial fisherman or something, these guys really catch a lot, and they'll catch them. But anyway, this is what the fish bites. This has been used, okay, at different stages. Notice this one right here. It's been on a while. And then this one, see, it's starting to disintegrate. But that's another beauty of these fish bites. They'll stay on a long time. Now what happens, but the last one I want to show you is this one right here. This is what I'm talking about. Let me see if I can prop it up, Jeff, if it'll sit right there. You can see it better. Now see, that's what they call that cheesecloth in the middle of it. And that's what and when they manufacture it, somehow they get it attached to that cloth strip there. Now that's sometimes very difficult to get off your hook. It just stays on there. And that's the beauty of it. It stays on there so long. But you always, when you want to take some kind of, instead of knife, take some kind of little scissors to sort of cut it off the hook. You can see where you have to sort of cut it off because it's hard to get off sometimes. But anyway, the big things is being able to do that. Also, I want to go ahead and have this. I want to go ahead and pull some of these out. Jeff, I'll just set them right here. These are just different colored jigs. And mainly, you can see I have this is about 1/10. I don't know why I do overkill. That look good there? Okay. And these are just jigs, and once you find a hole they're in, I don't need to pull out anymore. You get the idea, don't you? Once you find a hole they're in and you're catching them there, it's fun to jig fish, and really how I used to locate them. I just walk up and down the beach and just jig fishing and jig fish and jig fish. And once I started catching one or two, then you'd stop there and fish in that area. But I don't do much jig fishing anymore. But it's still a lot of fun. I plan on, in fact, I may do some this weekend now that I look at all these. Don't they look attractive and all? Then you have different colors and all, and you sort of move along pretty fast and just jig it, and they'll hit it. They'll hit it pretty good. So that's what I wanted to cover in the pompano fishing. And like I say, different ways to do it. Now the other thing I want to talk about. We'll finish up with that. Let's see. I got all kinds of stuff. I want to say a good morning to George. Okay, we went to last week. We were able. Week before last. Now we were able to. I'm on air. Okay, call me back in a few minutes. We were able to go to St. George Island Blue Parrot restaurant, which is right at the end of the bridge down there, and met some high school friends and all. Had a great lunch, and George Janis, okay, is the owner down there, one of the owners, and the manager. Nice guy, watch the show all the time. They're good about bringing in fresh seafood. That's one of our friends coming out of town. They wanted some fresh seafood down in that area. I said, I know right where we'll go. We had a great time. But one of the things, what I want to get to, is what he had right here, and this really impressed some of my friend from West Palm Beach. They had, okay, y'all see this out here? They had paper straws, okay? Paper straws. Can you see it right here? They had paper straws, and she was so impressed that they were doing this. And I said, well, we really try to, because we talked about plastic. He talking about when the hurricane hit down there, when it first came back down to the island, he said what stood out in his mind was all the plastic that was up on the beach, all the plastic straws that were up on the beach. So they've started going to paper straws, and that just meant a lot to all of us, because even this day and time, the paper straws, actually, I was looking them up, they came out in 1888. This guy named Stone was trying to drink his mint julep and kept spilling it. So he made a little straw and got a patent on it in 1888. So it's paper straws all the way up to around World War II. Then after World War II, of course, plastic came in all over America, and the statistics on plastic straws, I was looking up last night, incredible. I mean, on plastic, we use 5 million a day. 5 million a day in America, 5 million plastic straws. The great thing about this, though, paper straws are biodegradable. And once they go out in the water and all, they're going to break down. If a fish hits it or something, it's going to be paper and all. And just every little thing we can do as outdoorsmen and I hate to use the term environmentalists because I think you're wacko, but as outdoorsmen and people who take care of the outdoors, that's one little thing we can do. And we try to go to much paper straws. But that restaurant, I think there were a couple of pennies, that cost a couple of pennies more than plastic straws. So I want to encourage you to do little things like that. And several restaurants now are going to these plastic straws. It's just safer for the wildlife, and because there's so much plastic out there, it's mind-boggling. I will do a show on plastic one day about how much is out there and all. I think it's this will break down in 2 to 6 weeks. Plastic breaks down in 100 years. So you see the difference, and you can imagine the other countries, and they haven't caught on to it yet. But anyway, I just want to pass that on to you. And we're always talking about taking care of our outdoors and our environment, okay? Well, we're going to wrap it up today. Got a guest coming in tomorrow. Enjoy doing it. Y'all do something about them butterflies now. Don't let them get on you. You have a great day, and do something good today for fellow man. Enjoy our great outdoors, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.